That's the thing I say every single day.
Caucasian female, the biggest enemy.
Literally, white liberal women are the worst thing that ever happened to this country.
What about their men?
But we gonna get there because you keep trying to get me to qualify it by participating and joining in on the core.
No, I think you're doing what's easy.
No. I'm doing what's real.
Wow. I think you don't want to go against them because if you go against them, it'll be some video of you going against them. And when I say them, I'm talking about your boss.
I don't have a boss.
We say that. We say that, but here's the truth.
I don't have a boss.
It's a reason you go after black males or black people quicker than you will go after white males. What are white males responsible for in this country as the downfall of it?
I'm an equal accountability smoke giver. I talk about everybody.
I'm just saying, I ain't heard you talk about white men since you've been up here.
You ain't been listening. You ain't been listening.
I've been listening to you.
No, you haven't.
I hear you taking
you don't have the capacity to be able to listen because you're too busy.
No. You got me wrong. Here's the fact. Have you said something about Caucasian males and how they destroy this nation? Well, what did I miss?
Let's slow down because you talking loud.
Let's slow down. Let's slow down. He asked you a direct question right there. Now, if that is not true, and I'm not putting this on Anton, you know what I'm saying? Like Anton might well say what he want to say on his platform, but in this moment right here, he shifted gears.
Hey, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. I don't have an official title for this video yet, but it's going to be somewhere around the lines of Anton Daniels, in league with the so-called white man. Okay, Anton Daniels having Stockholm syndrome. Anton Daniels is a COON. Okay, and like I always say, you got to be very careful on these people that are on the internet that sound like they're wise and they sound like they got a lot of good things to say, right? Because Anton Daniels, all right, Anton Daniels, he got popular for pretty much breaking down what's going on in the urban black community. He talks about how the black woman is destroyed, the black man is destroyed, which we already know that, okay? We already know that, all right? That's not hard to see, okay? But he got famous off of that content, okay? And, a lot of people have uplifted this goofy ass nigga, right? Because they think that he's some type of hood prophet. This guy's doing sit downs and all types of shit. You know how this world, this punk ass world is. They'll take a bitch ass nigga like this and make him seem like a hot thing. All right. And people been uplifting this nigga to be some sort of wise character. Right. But he goes on the Corey Holcomb show. OK. And Corey Holcomb is a lot of y'all know him. If you don't know him, he's a comedian that has his own podcast. OK. And he goes on the Corey Holcomb show, and Corey Holcomb pretty much points out how he got everything to say against, his own people, right? But when it comes down to him calling out the demon that is solely responsible for why our people are jacked up, which is the so-called white man, the Caucasians, okay, that sit at the top, the Edomites. When it comes to calling them out, he don't never do that. Okay? He don't never do that. All right? And you know what? When I seen this video, I was like, you know what? Now that I've heard his content for a minute, and I thought back and I was like, you know what? He damn sure don't ever call out the white man. He'd never do. The furthest he'll go is, some Edomite Karen that's bugging out online. And that's another layup to talk about. That don't make you, anything that to where you should be exalted. Everybody know, the Edomite woman is bugging out, these Karens, right? So he only talk about urban popular content to draw controversy and get views for clickbait. But when it comes down to the actual, source of it all, he's quiet. and he ain't got nothing to say. And Corey Holcomb put him on the spot and told him, like, look, you don't want to talk about the white man. You don't want to call out the white man's atrocities and how Esau is the reason for why this world is destroyed. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to call that out because, those Edomites are your boss. Okay? Your handler is an Edomite. The nigga that pay you, that cut your check, is an Edomite. See, that's what he not going to tell the public. He's, this nigga Anton Daniels is running around acting like he's the black community's hero, but he not going to tell you that he got contracts and litigations and deals with the so-called white man on the low, right? How you think he getting that money? All right. Even if it ain't from, his online content. Okay. How you think he getting that type of money? Okay. You got to be in league with the devil, bro. All right. You ain't doing that shit, all by yourself. Because according to this nigga, he hate black people. So if you hate black people, okay, right, then that must mean you might be working with the devil then. And that's what he doing. Okay. That's what Anton Daniels is doing. And when Corey Holcomb, asked him them questions, was grilling him about that, you'll notice, if you go watch the full video on YouTube, okay, because it got kind of heated, right? It got heated. Corey Holcomb pretty much cussed his ass out, which he deserved it, right? But you watch the full video, Corey Holcomb asks him like 7 times, what do you think about the white man? What do you think about the white man? And Anton Daniels was ducking the question like a goddamn 1-2 slip jab. All right. He was ducking that question with his dear life. Okay. See, a lot of you people, all right, that hold these characters near and dear to your heart, and you think that these motherfuckers are the new revolutionaries. Okay. A lot of these motherfuckers is just some sellouts, man. All right. They just some sellouts. Okay. And they know what to say to, cultivate the minds of the simple. Okay. Because everybody out here in America loves controversy. Everybody out here. Everybody out here loves drama, themed conversations. Okay. And a nigga like Anton Daniels is good at that. Okay. But he's a coon. All right. He damn sure is working with the white man. Okay. He for goddamn sure is working with Esau. Okay. And you know what? Part of why I'm making this video on this guy as well is because sometime last year, right, Anton Daniels was sitting there talking big shit about the Hebrew Israelites. Okay. He was talking big shit about the Hebrew Israelites.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm riding down the street and I look at these motherfuckers and they got on their fringes, right? They fringes be at the bottom of their dashikis or whatever the hell you call it, that they ordered straight from China or the white man or some cotton mill that they say that they divested from, and they get they all of their little stuff from Amazon, and they do their little iron on shirts and shit like that. And I see some of their little girlfriends or some of their little chicks that's sitting on the side, that's in their little lawn chairs that they bought from Walmart that ultimately continues to enrich the Walton family that they say that they so much against. And I look at them, right? And they chicks is looking real homely and they dusty and they dirty. You know what I'm saying? And if you walk past some of them and they speak too close to you, they breath be stanking. And I'm telling you, listen, this is my real life experience. Don't you try to discount what my experience is. I know what my experience is. I experienced motherfuckers like y'all over in Miami. Yep, we was over in Miami. I experienced y'all in Detroit. I seen y'all on the corners bothering people, trying to get people's attention when we was trying to continue to put the city on the map so that we can help people understand how the city is transitioning in Detroit from being one of the worst cities in the world to one of the biggest come up stories of ever. Y'all was over there making it difficult, burning incense and sage, and y'all was over there putting smoke in the air, and y'all had y'all fucking fringes on, and y'all chicks was looking dusty as fuck, right? And so I'm looking at these women, and the women's breath stink, the kids is dirty and nasty, they ain't got no jobs. I be wondering to myself, if y'all are the chosen people and y'all so awesome, how come we don't know y'all by y'all fruit? Why are y'all so dusty? I have
Yeah, so this guy was sitting there calling us bums. He was sitting there trying to say we need to get some money, right? We tripping, okay? We ain't doing nothing for the community, right? But he's in league with Satan. He's in league with the devil. Cause why are you ducking them questions? That's a question I got for Anton Daniels. Nigga, why was you on this podcast ducking the question? Why didn't you just say no? He couldn't even say no, right? Somebody come up to me and tell me, are you working with, the white man? Are you working with the devil? First thing I'm going to say is hell no, right? A stern no. But why didn't he say no? He never said no. He just danced around the question. He sold out, man. Okay? He sold out. All right? And the Lord is going to destroy his faggot bitch ass. All right? For talking that shit and for making backdoor deals with Satan. Okay? Misleading the people for filthy lucre's sake, man. Okay? Wicked ass nigga. All right? Let me get a scripture real quick. All right? Let me get a scripture. Okay? Let's get this real quick. This is First Maccabees 1:11. And then we'll get it in a different translation next. It says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men. Okay? And it's talking about, 2/3 of our people. Anton Daniels is an Israelite. Okay? Whether he want to acknowledge it or not. You're an Israelite, bro. Okay? And you need to repent. But from what I can see, you're a little too far egotistical. You're a little too far proud to repent. Okay? So the Lord just going to chop you up and first the Lord going to embarrass you. Okay? Because the scriptures talk about the Lord is not mocked. So you're not finna get out here, okay, and try to look down on the Hebrew Israelites, okay, which the Spirit of the Lord is in the midst of the Hebrew Israelites. The real God of the earth is in the midst of the Hebrew Israelites. Now you do got some camps that are bugging out. Okay. Yeah, we can admit that. All right. Some of these camps out here ain't right. But does that mean all Hebrew Israelites are bugged out? No. Okay. There's a remnant. There's an election. Okay. Within the circumcision. All right. Okay. And being a Hebrew Israelite is the truth of the Bible. All right. So for you to be sitting there talking that shit, okay, you talking directly against the Father and the Son. And you're not finna sit there and talk that bullshit against the Father and the Son and then think the Lord ain't gonna recompense your goofy ass. Okay? First things first, the Lord is gonna embarrass your power bottom ass. Okay? That's the first thing that the Lord is gonna do. The Lord is gonna embarrass you. He gonna put you on these platforms. He gonna make your ass look like a fool. Okay? He gonna expose you because somebody like you need to be exposed. You're proud. You're arrogant. You think you know it all, and you don't know shit. You know what I mean? This is one of them niggas that got that type of mentality. We need to get more banks in the hood. We needed more fundraisers for the black community. Look, man, the black community is cooked out, man. Okay? All right? Our people need to get close with Yahweh Shimi Shai, okay, to weather the storm that's getting ready to happen. And he ain't going to tell you about that, okay? Because he love the white man. And he think that the white man will never roll on his ass, okay? He's a wicked Israelite. It says, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. Yeah, you didn't make a covenant with the so-called white man, did you? You never said no. You never said yes. You just left the question up, for imagination. Go watch the full video, Akim. Go watch the full video on YouTube. Okay, Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels. All right, go watch that full video and watch when Corey Holcomb asks Anton Daniels, you know what I'm saying, why you don't ever talk about the white man? How come you don't ever shame the white man? Right? He danced around the question like a serpent. You see, you done made a covenant with the heathen. That's why. Okay, you got a handler, probably a small hat. It's probably a small hat funding his little journey, funding his little his little plight to fame. Okay, that's what he ain't gonna tell his followers. But he done persuaded many. Okay, a lot of people believe in this jackass. All right, and Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is gonna embarrass him, and then the Lord just gonna finish him off. A quick finish, cut the head off. Like the samurai. You know what I mean? Brothers who watch them samurai movies. You know what I'm talking about? When that samurai cut that head off, that motherfucker just it's just quick and sudden. It ain't no struggle. It ain't no hesitation. It's just zing, head just fly off. That's how the Lord gonna do Anton Daniels. Okay, Lord just gonna strike you down one day. All right. It says, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Yeah, and let me tell you something. Anton Daniels, when you get into his content and you get into what he's really about the restoration of America. Okay, he's one of them. I don't know what that nigga is, but he seemed like one of them fucking conservative. This is what we need to do to keep America going. This is what black people can do to get ahead. He remind me of one of them, coon ass niggas from back in the day that used to go to Esau's little city halls and sit down with them devils and ask for them equal rights. He remind me of one of them niggas, right? One of them I want equal rights ass niggas. Okay. So this is a dude that think that he can't live without the so-called white man's authority. Like Corey Holcomb said, he never go after the so-called white man. He never go after the problem of the earth. Okay. The so-called white man, Esau, Edom, is the problem of the earth. Why the fuck ain't you talking about him if you really trying to help the people? But you see, you got a lot of these punk ass niggas, okay, that get online and they don't want to tell the truth. All right. They don't want to tell the truth. Okay. They're afraid of the devil. Okay. They're afraid that the devil will cut their podcast off like Nick Cannon. They're afraid that the devil will silence them. They're afraid that the devil will sabotage their image in the public media. Okay. So a lot of these goofs, they want to act like they helping the people. They want to act like they for their people, but they don't want to call out who the real problem is. Okay. The problem of the earth is Esau, Edom. Okay. The Caucasian red asshole. All right. Look what these devils just did in Venezuela, man. They just went over there and just went to go hijack that oil. Okay. And they didn't give a damn. Look what them goddamn Israelis. Okay. Look what they're doing to them Palestinians, man. All right. And look what they're doing all over the earth. Okay. And you're going to sit here and act like Esau ain't the fucking devil, man. And all you want to talk about is the black woman. The black woman is an easy target, man. The black woman is a soft target. Everybody knows she's destroyed. Okay. Black woman. So she'll tell you she's fucked up. Okay. Nigga, let's get down to the root. You see? But you ain't going to do that because you's a bitch. All right. Like Corey Holcomb said. And I'm going to call you that because of that shit you was talking about being a Hebrew Israelite. All right. I ain't got no love for you. May Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai destroy your black cookie bear faggot bitch ass. Okay. Straight up, man. Let me get this. Oh, let me get this translation right here. Yeah. Let me get this translation. This is First Maccabees 1:11 in the Common English Bible. Okay. Common English Bible. It says at that time, some renegade Israelites emerged. What does renegade mean? Because okay. It says a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles. Yeah. When you, Anton Daniels, when you got, okay, on that camera with your shiny almond bald head, all right, and was sitting there talking that shit about being a Hebrew Israelite and how we're bums and we ain't doing nothing. Okay. That made you a renegade. You disowned your heritage. Okay. Little do you know, man. You're not an African American. Well, you are an African American. Okay. Because that's what you are in your mind. All right. Okay. You're a coon jigaboo. All right. You're a tap dancing monkey. Okay. For the so-called white man and his associates. All right. Anton Daniels, the type of nigga, he just want to be invited to the goddamn banquet meeting. He want to sit down with Esau and discuss world affairs. He got a tuxedo. You know what I mean? He want to express himself, and he want to be the voice of the black community and talk with Esau about a better change. The fuck out of here, man. You're a renegade. You're a renegade, bro. Okay? You're a renegade to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. You deserted. You disowned your heritage, man. And you're going to have to pay for that. It says, let me keep going. It says, at that time, some renegade Israelites emerged. These people went against their ancestral laws and encouraged other Salakia. These people went against their ancestral laws and encouraged many other Jews to join them. They spoke up saying, let us make an agreement with the Gentiles, the heathen, right, around us, because many horrible things have happened to us since we separated ourselves from them. Yeah, and that's why Anton Daniels, he don't want to call out who the real problem is, because he truly believes that being completely separated from the so-called white man, all right, is the worst case scenario, right? So just like Corey Holcomb said, he said, I think you don't want to really say it out loud because your boss will cut your contract. You see? And that's more than likely what would have happened if he would have sat there and badmouthed the so-called white man. OK, Esau would have gave his ass a phone call on his way home that night. All right. And he know that because he's in league with him. OK, he didn't sign backdoor deals with him. OK, you see, so he's just a coon, man. He's just a coon. OK, and he had the nerve to sit there and talk about us like we're the bugged out ones. Nigga, we didn't sell our soul to the devil, nigga. OK, for no clicks and no likes. All right. We ain't sell our soul, man. So you can sit there and talk that shit about building up the black community and putting more banks in the hood if you want to, nigga. All right. That's that same bullshit Martin Luther King was talking about. And we know goddamn well he sold out. That's that same shit Tupac was talking about. And we know goddamn well Tupac sold out, man. All right. Want to hear that shit? Let me get this last scripture right here on this clown. This is Proverbs 18, starting at verse 6. It says, a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. You see? And you're going to start seeing the Lord spank these niggas. Okay, that's been talking that shit. You see? Anton Daniels, if you ever come across this video, okay, the Lord embarrassed you on that podcast with Corey Holcomb. I don't care what you saying. I'm saying that in the spirit of the Lord. I don't give a fuck how cool you think you did a walkout. OK, how cool you think you were on that show. Hey, the Lord embarrassed you, man. OK, because first and foremost, you didn't answer the question whether is the so-called white man the one to blame. And the fact that you didn't answer it, all right, shows what type of nigga you is, man. All right. It shows you just a low down, dirty, greedy, money hungry, faggot, bitch ass nigga, man. All right. Straight up. OK. And so your mouth then got you in trouble. And now you got an enemy in the heavens coming after you, man. Got you looking bad, embarrassing you. May Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai destroy you and your whole family, man. Straight up. It says, verse 7, it says, a fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. You see, you done snared yourself, right? You thought you was big and bad. You thought you was the next some wise guru or some shit. You thought. But look, the Lord got you in a snare, right? The Lord got you on camera, not even wanting to call out the devil, man. You scared to call out the devil, man. Okay? So we know what it is with this dude for real. All right? We know what it is with this dude for real. Okay? You know, this dude ain't nothing but another agent for Esau, man. All right? You know, bringing up controversial topics, trying to be deep. But when it really come down to it, these people ain't really separated from Babylon like the hopeful elect. See, the hopeful elect are going to be the last men standing. All you people out there, you could talk that shit, okay? And you could sit there and say we tripping for being out on the highways and hedges, on the street corners, talking and cussing and breaking down the Bible loud. You can say what you want to say, but guess what? The hopeful elect is going to be the last one standing with their integrity, okay? Let me get that real quick. I'm going to close it out like that. Righteous are bold as lions. Because I gotta show the separation of between clowns and real men. All right. This is Proverbs 28:1. It says the wicked flee when no man pursueth. And when you and that's exactly what Anton Daniels, that's exactly what Anton Daniels did. Okay. Just so you can see a visual. Let's just put Anton Daniels, Corey Holcomb, right? Right? That's exactly what Anton Daniels did, okay? That's exactly what he did when the right question was asked. You see him? Look, he getting up. He getting out of there. Right? Go watch the video, okay? Corey Holcomb ran this nigga out the chair, ran him out the studio with the same question. Nigga, why won't you hold the so-called white man accountable? He had to get the fuck up out of there. The wicked fleeth when no man pursueth, man. Okay? He ain't got no answer. He tap dancing around the topic. Okay? And I'm glad Corey Holcomb got on his ass like that. Corey Holcomb straight up told him, nigga, you's a bitch. Hey, through the spirit, I probably would have told him the same thing, man. Okay? I would cuss him out through the spirit. Put a curse on him, and I more than likely, I would have said something around them lines as well. Okay, he wasn't wrong for calling him that. A nigga acting like a bitch, he a bitch, man. Corey Holcomb said, he said, you sound like one of my bitches. You know what I mean? You trying to, you tap dancing around the question. You keep talking about yourself. Yeah, because he's an effeminate mama's boy. Okay, he don't have the spirit of the Lord in him. All right, he's the wicked. So he gonna flee. He gonna get out of there right in the nick of time. Okay, he ain't got the true answers, man. All right, you ain't got the answers, Sway. All right, you just another coon in America, man. Probably a part of the black boule. All right, it says the wicked fleeth when no man pursueth, but the righteous are bold as a lion. You see, if he was a righteous man, okay, he would have stood there. He would have called it out for what it was. You know what? Nah, the so-called white man is the devil. Yeah, he's the devil. He fucked everything up. That's all he had to say. Or he could at least, if he didn't even want to say all that, he could have just said yes or no. All right? That's what the righteous would have done. The righteous don't tap dance around the enemy, man. Okay? You call the enemy out for who he is, man. All right? You don't sit there and play semantics, man. Okay? Like a goddamn teenage female cheerleader. Okay? You call it out for what it is. You straight to the point, man. If you the righteous are bold as lions, man. Okay? Being a part of being bold is direct, up front. Okay? Let's get that word. Let's just look it up. Bold. What does the word bold mean? Because he wasn't bold. Of a person, action, or idea showing an ability to take risks, confident and courageous. It's a sign of confidence and being courageous to call out the so-called white man. Okay? And we risking our lives doing it, and we don't give a damn because we know that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai got us. All right. But, the rest of these clowns that have made backdoor deals with the so-called white man, they can't do the same. They can't do the same. Okay. Damn. They can't do the same. Okay. They're under all sorts of contracts and agreements. All right. They didn't got snared with this with the devil to the point to where, if they sit there and go against them, even a slight hint that they going against them, motherfucking devils will make their life a living hell. Okay? Nigga like Anton Daniels is probably sitting down having dinner with one of the most fucking diabolical Edomites you've ever seen. And he talking about content creating strategies. Okay? So, hey, the righteous is going to be the last men standing, okay? Because we're going to be the last ones that's going to stick with the same message Even when the devil is going buck wild, even when, things like Revelation 12:12 happen, even when Jeremiah 30:7 happens, we still gonna have the same mentality. The devil is the devil, God damn it. Okay. And we ain't gonna be afraid to call that out and publicize that, man. We ain't gonna be like you bitch ass niggas. Anton Daniels is probably gonna take the chip, man. He that type of nigga, man. Okay. So, may Yahweh Ba'Ashim Yahushai destroy him. All right. And I can say that for that bullshit he was talking. Okay. May Yahweh Ba'Ashim Yahushai destroy this black ass nigga, man. Okay. And I'll give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Ashim Yahushai. All right. Lord willing, to the next one. Shalom.